I heard from somebody saying, well, why having so many beautiful buildings in the city? Why did you decide to paint about an industrial scene?
In my mind, the incongruity of an industrial process being the subject of an artist's brush is quite special.
I was born in Mexico City, but I grew up in Querétaro City. Querétaro City has a big background as an architectural city. It was named by UNESCO as a World Heritage City, and that means that everything surrounding the city, it represents culture, represents traditions. I grew up with all those roots, so when I came to Canada, I wanted to learn more about the culture and the multicultural communities that they are here. So that is, it's an inspiration for me to grow more as an artist and as a person, and to learn more about another cultures and to blend them with my own roots. Naturally, is so many scenes around the area to be inspired to paint them. But in the same time, there are a lot of architectural buildings that they have so much character, and they invite you to take a look and to analyze each of the details that they have, the construction behind the buildings, the history behind the buildings, and how they are all connected together. That's something very unique about Saint John. And I was thinking, what is important, what is supporting the community or the economics here in the area. And I start to feel more familiar with the Canaport plant. So I felt like a challenge to be painting about that.
Well, the Canaport LNG is always looking for ways to get involved in the community and somehow find a way to add back to the community and make sure that we are engaged and supportive of the Arts Society in St. John.
I wanted to learn more about them. I wanted to see, well, what's behind Canaport, what is Canaport doing. So I wanted to learn and I want to share with the community. So that's the way I approached to them, and they accept the project.
Welcome to Canaport LNG. So I see some blue, silver, and the blue I see a little bit of turquoise. Do you think that you can tell me a little bit more about this space? Sure. This is the booster building. We have the BOG compressors building on that side. We have 4 BOG compressors and 1 booster compressor.
And when I went to visit the plant and they were so open to explain me what was happening there, it changed completely the perspective that I have from there. You just have this idea, and then when you are making it happen, it's like, wow, I never thought that there was so much information and so much to learn, and you have a big responsibility in your hands, and you have to project that to the community.
We are on the jetty control room. Every time we receive a ship, it berths on the jetty, and we have the unloading arms at the head of the jetty. The unloading arm will be hooked to the ship, and the LNG will be pumped through the arm to the pipeline. Then from the pipeline will send the LNG to the tanks.
We are in this section where I see a long perspective, and I can see the Canaport tank there and the lights coming through the fog, which to me is a beautiful landscape.
The structure that we're using, the engineers that are working, designing this beautiful tank, that it has to be perfectly well designed for the function that it has to serve to the purpose. And it's an artistic design there. They probably don't see that. I see that. The very first time that I went to Canaport, there were no lights. It was just a plant, and it was a beautiful sunset and the water. That was beautiful. But when we went, that was totally different. It was a foggy day, evening, and it was a lot of lighting there. And that created some emotions on me and pushing me as to create that beautiful contrast lights from the tanks between the fog. That was kind of a unique contrast and context around, very different picture, very different image, and that feeling that I was having from there, I wanted to share. I wanted to make that happen. Talking about skills, it makes me grow more as a painter. How light can be so important if you don't do it right. Because it can be too much or it can be something really nice and elegant. And that was the idea. When I saw the plant and I saw the lighting and I saw those big tanks, how they were so majestic and how they were so strong looking, but at the same time they were elegant.
I was saying to Fabi that having gone to sea myself, that I recall many clear nights where you'd be off the ship in a workboat, if you will, and coming back, seeing the outline of the ship and the color of the ship's lights reflecting in the calm water. In this particular piece just in the back of you here, she's done a dynamite job creating that scene, and it's so realistic. It really struck a chord with me.
I was so inspired by the ships during the night, because you could see, especially, you know, if it's not foggy, and then you can see the reflection from the lights on the water, that makes it look so unique. So I was playing a little bit with the turquoise and the oranges.
And the other piece that stood out for me is the one that's just in back of me, and it shows a ship that is so typical on a calm day, coming up the Bay of Fundy, kind of hovering in the fog, if you will. And she's just done a great job capturing that, and that too has its own mystique, and she's really reflected, I guess, not only the scene but the emotion that people on board ship feel when they're coming up the Bay of Fundy.
And it was actually during the winter time, and you see when it's first thing in the morning, and then the sunrise starts to hit the cold water, so the water starts to evaporate. So that was a lot of foggy emotion in that ship there, and I felt intimidated by doing one foggy scene, because I never painted one before. But in the same time, I felt very inspired doing it. Like, I thought, well, why not? Let's try it. And it was like a sign, because then we went, and it was foggy. So that was kind of a clue for me to try it and to experimenting and to do a foggy scene. It's the connection. Basically, when we say bridge, it's like connecting one side to the other side. Mm-hmm. You're connecting the economic with the community, with in this case with the art community or the community in general. I'm being just the link between the two of them. When an artist show what's happening nowadays in your community, it's part of the culture, it's part of the heritage. When somebody makes the time to write about what's going on right now in our city, that lasts for years. So when somebody makes the time to paint about what's going on with the community right now, economically talking, you are gonna be the culture bridge. Because you are talking, you are making the time, and you are painting about it. So people can learn from the perspective of the artist. For me, having my exhibition of Culture Bridge at the Imperial Theatre was a privilege.
Here at the Imperial, we do a regular rotating series of exhibits in our lobbies. And we're kind of always on the lookout, especially for local artists who are doing something interesting. And so this project was brought to our attention as something that really fits with what we like to do here at the theater, and it's a little bit different. So we were very excited to hear about that.
When she told me about the show that would be happening here at the Imperial Theatre, I definitely wanted to be here to see her work, given that my association with the port and with Canaport and with LNG, and
Really, it's fun to see these paintings come to life under the brush of Fabiola. I wouldn't have thought that an industrial project would ever be as well rendered in an artistic form as this has been. It's really quite exciting.
And it's just absolutely fabulous work that she's done here. She's really captured the mystique, I guess, of the shipping industry in the outer harbor, and she's captured it very well.
It's really wonderful when we can see people making art from, not just from the resources in our community, but from the subject matter of our community. And I think that this is a really good example of how you can take something that most people might not instantly say, aha, that's material for art, and make art out of it.
By people looking at this series of paintings, I hope that when they are walking during the night and they see a ship during the night, they think that there is beauty there, that just take a break, take a moment, have your coffee, see the lights from the ships and see how they are reflecting in the water and enjoy the moment.
I'd like to propose a toast to the artist that has provided the enjoyment of the evening with these wonderful paintings, Fabiola. To our patron, Canaport LNG, all the best, and we thank you. Cheers.
This whole evening where people have the opportunity to go out and see the talent that we have in our community. And I'm going to tell you what a beautiful scene we have here at the Imperial Theatre to see one of our most talented people in St. John. A real addition to our community. It just enriches our community in so many ways.
I just want to say thank you so much to everybody, especially to my family, to Jake and my two boys, Isaiah and Elijah. Yes, Joseph.
I don't want to use the word sacrifice, but yes, we have to forget a little bit about the summer, so I could start painting and making this project happen.
I'm thankful for all the art that Fabiola has given us. Its beauty represents the culture of this city, and we are proud for her art.